Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As you can see the thumbnail, what if Issei is son of the bloodthirsty warrior and becomes Blood Warrior Part 3? Before I please do support for more awesome content and subscribe to my channel and also watch previous episodes. Let's start the video. The two just looked at each other for a moment. Issei was still up in Ria's face but didn't even acknowledge her anymore. Akeno just stood there in the door with disbelief written all over her face. They just looked at each other for a solid 5 minutes without speaking. The rest of the Ria's peerage was confused about what was going on. Issei was the one to break the silence in the room. "Long time no see," Issei said as he turned towards her. "Hey Akeno ran towards Issei and football tackled him to the floor. She clung to him like her life depended on it. Akeno cried into Issei's chest for a couple of minutes. Issei tried to calm him down by rubbing her back and whispering that everything was okay. It seemed to work because she began to calm down. "I thought I wouldn't see you again," Akeno said while she lifted her head. "Shush, it's okay, I'm here now," Issei said in a calm tone. "Akeno, how do you know this human?" Ria said in a commanding tone. The two got up from the ground and dusted themselves off. "Master, this is my childhood friend Issei," Akeno answering her master. Issei just looked at Rias with hatred in his eyes. "Master, I wonder how that happened. I bet the bitch tricked her somehow." "Oh really? Why did you fail to inform your master that you had a friend here?" Rias asked. "You never asked, master," Akeno replied. Rias seemed to accept the answer and got up from her seat. She walked around her desk and walked towards Issei. "Fair enough Akeno, so, that brings me to you eyes. Just who are you?" Rias said as laid her finger on Issei's chest. "I am the one who is going to break your finger if you don't get it off of me," Issei said in threatening tone. "Wow, you're so aggressive, I like it," Rias said in lusty voice. "If you don't tell me why I am here in the next 3 seconds, you will see how aggressive I can get," Issei said, going tired of Rias' actions. "You're no fun," Rias said as she walked back towards her desk. "I want you to tell me what you are. You have some connection to the supernatural and I want to know what is it," Rias said in a polite tone. Issei looked at Akeno for a moment. She looked at him like she wanted to know what he was as well. "Akeno knows that I have some power but doesn't know my Slayer abilities, unless her father told her about me. I could show my boosted gear and that could confirm what she knows because she clearly doesn't know about it. I will tell her either way but I don't want the bitch to know," Issei thought. "Fine, I will show you my power," Issei said, acting like he was fed up with the whole thing. Issei raised his left hand and summoned his boosted gear. Boost, the gauntlet appeared on his left arm with a green light filling the room. "I am the Red Dragon Emperor." Everyone in that room looked like they had just seen a ghost. "Oh my, Issei likes to keep his secrets, even from his childhood friend," Akeno said in teasing manner. Issei was looking at Rias. She was looking at Issei like he was a piece of meat. "I must say that this is a shock. I knew that you had power but this is something special," Rias said. "It's just a scared gear," Kiba said in dismissive tone. Issei looked at the blonde, narrowing his eyes. "Anyways, now I know what you are. I have a request," Rias asked in a seductive voice. "What would that be?" Issei looking back at Rias. "I want you to join my peerage," Rias replied. "No," Issei said without giving it a second thought. "What, why?" Rias asked in shocked Gremory. "A few seconds ago, I nearly killed you. I don't think I would be a good fit. Plus, I am not overly fond of devils," Issei replied. "Far enough. Can you at least join the orc?" Rias asked. Issei looked at Akeno. She looked at him like she wanted him to say yes with those beautiful eyes she had. Damn, how can so no to those eyes, Issei thought. "Alright, I can agree to that," Issei said in agreement. "Then Issei, welcome to the orc," Rias yelled with a grin. "With him in this club, I should be able to seduce him and make him a part of my peerage. I just hope I can do it in time." Issei made his excuses and left the building and began walk home. He began to ponder about Akeno and what happened to her. He was currently in a park looking at the sun going down. She had certainly grown in many ways but she hasn't changed it a bit. I wonder how she became that bitch's servant. If I find out she trick her or abuses her, I will rip her in half. The group she was seemed to be full of the Melvs as well, but I think they just showing up because they are threatened by me. Oh well, I just hope they leave me out of their deals or rip of their heads off. "Excuse me, are you Issei?" A voice interrupted Issei from his thoughts. Issei looked in the direction of the voice. What he saw, a cute girl wearing a uniform from a different hand, long black hair and violet eyes. She kind of looked like Akeno if she was shorter with smaller breasts. "Yes, I am," Issei replied to the girl. "Oh, in that case I was wondering if you would go on a date with me," the girl asked. Issei recoiled a bit with the question. He was about to reply when Demlos spoke up. "Issei, that is Fallen Angel. Are you sure?" "Yes I am. I sense that she has some killing intent coming from her. I would recommend being careful," Demlos said to his partner. "Oh, I will be careful all right," Issei said with a plan of his own. Miss, I don't even know your name. Surely a pretty girl like yourself has a name," Issei buttering up the Fallen Angel. "It's Yuma," she replied. "In that case Yuma, I just have one question for you," Issei said, closing the distance between the distance. "Why yes," Yuma sounding nervous. "How dumb do you think I am?" Issei whispered in her ear. "Huh, I don't know what you." Boom. While Issei had her distracted from his sweet talk, he silently pulled his shotgun for his backpack, and when he got close, he fired the weapon for max damage using both barrels. Yuma got blown back a good 5 feet before landing on her back and screaming in pain. There was a giant hole where her stomach used to be.
Ah, fuck, that hurt. Yuma screamed. TSK. 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 That's what you get for underestimating your enemy, Issei said as he loaded his shotgun and walked towards the down angel.
"What do you mean, enemy?" Yuma screamed. "You can drop the scared girl gimmick. I know what you are. You might as well drop it," Issei said as looked down at the girl. The girl transferred into her fallen angel form. The only thing that changed was the size of her bust grew and her clothing. What she was wearing could be described as a black leather strap that covered her womanhood and her chest and nothing else. "Nice outfit, Yuma. Your real name is that a lie too?" Issei questioned. "Rainier," she responded. "Great, we are getting somewhere. Why did you try and kill me? Also, I wouldn't recommend lying to me because you might lose your head," Issei threatened. "A high-rank commander sent us to kill you so you won't interfere with our plans," Rainier replied in pain. "Us? So, there is more of you. How many?" Issei questioned. "Fuck you, that's how many," Rainier spat. Issei raised his foot and brought it down on her hand. Rainier's hand broke as soon as Issei's foot came in contact. "Ah!" Rainier screamed. "Rainier, the only thing keeping you alive right now is what you know. Pissing me off and wasting my time isn't wise," Issei said with a twisted grin. 3. She screamed. "What is the mission here?" Issei asked. "A girl with a scared gear is arriving here. We are supposed to get her and extract her gear at the church up the hill," she answered. "Finally, who is this commander that wants me dead?" "Forget it, that is all I am telling you." Issei raised his foot and brought it down on her other hand, crushing it. "Ah!" she screamed. "Who is that commander?" Issei demanded. "Kokubile, he said that you escaped before and he wanted to make sure that you were killed. That's everything that I know," she screamed. Once before, Issei thought, then it hit him, the fallen angel that killed his parents. Issei was beyond pissed. He was the target and his parents were just collateral. Issei looked down at the fallen angel and spoke in a cold tone. "Thank you, you complied and will grant you mercy," Issei said as put the shotgun towards her head.
"Wait, you said you would give me mercy?" Rainier shouted.
"I am. A quick and painless death is mercy, given that we're going to kill an innocent life," Issei replied with a bloodthirsty grin. "Ye boom!" Issei pulled bot triggers of the weapon and as a result, blew the fallen angel head off. Issei walked home with the information he gathered from the dead enemy. Issei had to plan out what he was going to next. Issei got to his room and opened his fridge to make something for supper. There wasn't really much, but he managed to make a soup. Issei was so tied up with his supper that he didn't see the teleport circle flash in his room. "Are you making enough for two?" Akeno whispered in Issei's ear. "Akeno, what are you doing here?" Issei said as he looked back in shock. "I came here to see how you are doing. You know I have a front door," Issei said as turned around. "Where is the fun in that?" Akeno replied as she wrapped her arms around Issei's neck. "I guess so," Issei said as he wrapped his arms around her slender waist. The two just looked at each other for a moment. Akeno was looking into Issei's soft brown eyes and Issei was looking into her violet eyes. As each moment passed, they got closer and closer together. A minute went by and they were an inch away from one another. "Issei, I missed you so much. I thought I would never see you again," Akeno said with tears in her eyes. "Shush, enough of those. I am here and never on planning leaving you alone," Issei whispered as he wiped the tears away. Issei closed the distance and kissed Akeno on the lips. Akeno was a little surprised that Issei took the chance but enjoyed the moment nevertheless. Akeno closed her eyes to bask in the sensation. The kiss lasted on for a brief moment but both parties enjoyed it. Issei pulled away and looked at Akeno for a moment. "I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself," Issei confessed. "Oh my, so selfish," Akeno teased. Issei shut off the oven and led Akeno over towards the couch. "Akeno, can I ask you a question?" Issei asked with concerned voice. "Of course," Akeno replied. "If you don't mind me asking, can you tell me about happened?" Issei asked with most sincere voice he could muster. Akeno looked at him, then began to look at the ground and her body language changed. She was slouched over and crossed her arms under her chest. She looked like if you touched her she would fall apart. "When you left that night, I was completely torn in half. I avoided Barakil until the next day. I went over the next day to find your house burned to the ground. I believed Barakil had a couple of fallen angels kill you or kidnap you. However, Azazel came over to assure me that didn't happen. Barakil relied on alcohol to ease the pain from Moma's murder. One night, Barakil got really drunk one night and he started to hit me. He hit me again and again saying it was my fault that mother died. He stopped hitting me, then he started to touch me. He said that I could make it up to him by doing stuff with didn't get the chance to ruin me as I soon ran away after he started that. I didn't make it far though. I was only a child and children have their limits. Just when my body gave out, I met Rias and she made a devil. However, due to me being a fallen angel I became this." Akeno opened her wings. One side was fallen wings and on the other was devil wings.
Issei just sat there and listened to every word. When she finished her story, Issei felt nothing but pure rage. He was pissed at Barakil for blaming his own daughter for happened and abusing the person he cared for the most. Issei was mad at himself as well. If he didn't leave, he could have stopped this and save Akeno. Issei want nothing more and kill Barakil in the most painful way possible. However, Issei was brought back from his own thoughts of anger when heard crying.
Issei looked at Akeno. She was crying and that made Issei feel even more worse than he already felt. Issei, are you okay with me? Do you hate me? Akeno asked between her sniffing. Issei wrapped her arms around her. He held her for all he was worth. Akeno, I am so sorry that happened to you. I wish I was there to help. I am so sorry that I wasn't there. Akeno, I could never hate you, no matter what you are and what you become. I will always see you as my precious childhood friend, Issei said in whisper. New tears came down Akeno's face, however, these were tears of happiness. Akeno was overjoyed to find out that she had nothing to fear. The two sat there, clinging to one another for what seemed like forever. They broke apart and looked at each other. Issei looked at Akeno. Issei could tell that she had something on her mind. Akeno, you seem like you want to ask something, Issei asked Akeno. Issei could tell what she wanted to ask. Well Issei, I want to know why you left, Akeno asked as she looked Issei in his eyes. Issei took a deep breath and began to collect his thoughts. After composing himself, Issei told Akeno about what happened that night. He told Akeno about the fallen angel, Demlos, the devil, everything. In short Akeno, I am from a bloodline that is responsible for nearly destroying the supernatural world. If you don't want to be seen with me because of that, I will understand, Issei said as he finished his story. He had a few tears in his eyes from bring up his past. Akeno sat beside Issei in total shock. She never knew what Issei went through. What really shocked her was that he thought she didn't want to be seen with him due to his ancestor. She wouldn't be able to look at herself if she did that to him. Akeno tackled him to his back. She was mounted on top of him and had his full attention. Idiot, I don't care what your ancestor did, the only thing I care about is you, Akeno confessed. Issei was rather shocked from what Akeno just said, but he was happy nonetheless. Issei reached up and locked lips with Akeno for a second time. The two made out for what seemed like forever. The only thing that made them leave each other's lips was the air required to breath. After they finished, Issei looked at Akeno with most sincere smile. Akeno, will you be my girlfriend? Issei asked. He already knew the answer to that question. Yes, 1,000 times yes, Akeno practically yelled. The two held each other with such happiness that they lost the time. The two yawned and began to feel very tired. Issei looked at the clock and chuckled. What is so funny? Akeno asked. Akeno, do you remember what time you got here? Issei asked. I think around, Akeno, it's midnight, Issei answering the question. The two couldn't believe the time. It only felt like a half hour, but it clearly took longer than thought. Well, I guess I should get going then, Akeno said, a depressed tone. She wanted to stay with Issei as long as possible. She got up and started to prepare a teleport circle. Well, you can stay here for the night with me, Issei asked with a blush across his face, looking hopeful.
Akeno looked at him and with a devilish smile. Where will I sleep though? Akeno acting coy.
Well, I could take the couch and you take the bed, or, Issei unable to finish the sentence. Or, Akeno said as she walked over to him and pushed her breast into his chest. We could share the bed, Issei said with a blush on his face. If it okay with my boyfriend, then I don't mind sharing the bed, Akeno whispered in Issei's ear. Issei recoiled from her sensual voice hitting his eardrum, then Issei led her down the hall towards the bedroom. The two reached the bedroom when Issei remembered something. Akeno, I don't have a change of clothes that you can wear to bed, Issei said with embarrassment. Don't worry about it Issei, I sleep nude, Akeno said in a teasing manner. Oh, great, Issei replied with a giant blush on his face. Issei turned his back so Akeno could get comfortable. Issei began to take off his clothes. He was in his boxers when felt something soft touch his back. I'm done changing, Akeno whispered in Issei's ear. Issei froze as his brain stared to meltdown. Issei somehow managed to walk to his bed without looking at Akeno. Issei got underneath the covers and turned towards the wall that faced him. Issei began to wonder if he was going to get any sleep. Akeno giggled at Issei's reaction and walked over towards the other side of the bed. She got underneath the covers and looked directly at Issei. Issei shut off the lights when he felt that soft sensation return on his back. I didn't know you get so embarrassed so easy, it's so cute, Akeno whispered. Issei smiled. Good night Akeno, Issei said. Good night Issei, Akeno replied. Issei awoke to the sound of crying and low moans. He looked at the clock and found it was 3 a.m. He looked towards Akeno and found that she was tossing and turning. She also had tears running down her face and mumbling something under her breath. Issei believed she was having a nightmare. Issei needed to calm her down but was unsure how to do it, so, Issei grabbed onto her and held her close. After holding her for a while he began to pick up what she was saying. Dad, no stop, please. Issei was thrown into rage when he heard that. However, he knew that he had to calm down and make sure Akeno was safe. Issei couldn't imagine what Akeno went through. Even after she told him, he still couldn't wrap his around the idea that her father would do that to her. Akeno, I swear that I will never leave again and protect you with my dying breath, Issei swore to himself. Akeno began to calm down after she was wrapped in Issei's arms. Issei noticed a smile on her face and heard something leave her lips. Issei, I love you." Issei smiled at that confession and began to fall back asleep. A couple hours later, Issei was woken up by the morning sun shining in his eyes. Issei looked at the clock and saw it was 7:30 a.m. School started at 9, so he decided to get up and take a shower. However, as soon as Issei began to move, he felt a force to hold him down. Issei looked to right and blushed at what he saw. Akeno had wrapped herself around his right arm and held onto him like a vice. What Issei was embarrassed about was her lack of clothing. Issei could see everything and was having a tough time looking away. "Fuck, she is hot. How can a girl have a chest like that? They are so soft," Issei said to himself while looking at Akeno's chest. Issei began to feel weight shift and saw Akeno's eyes began to open. "Gee, good morning, Akeno," Issei said as he turned his away. Akeno looked at Issei and began to grow a devilish grin. Akeno mounted Issei, so Issei had no escape. "Good morning, darling, enjoying the view?" Akeno said in a lusty voice as she lifted her chest. "Akeno, I can see them," Issei replied. "You want to touch them?" Akeno asked. She grabbed onto Issei's hand. "What?" Issei said in shock. Issei knew he couldn't restrain himself if this continued. Akeno pulled Issei's hand into her chest and made him grab onto her left breast. Akeno arched her back at sensation. She was in pure bliss at the touch of Issei's rough hand. "Oh my, this feels amazing," Akeno thought. Issei was both shocked and mesmerized at the feeling of Akeno's chest. "They are so big and bouncy, they feel so great," Issei thought as he began to move his hand. Akeno looked at Issei with eyes filled with lust. She began to go on the attack and kissed Issei with passion and love. They began to make out for a couple of minutes as both of them began to explore one another's bodies. Issei flipped Akeno over on her back and pulled back from Akeno. "We have to stop," Issei said as he tried catching his breath. "Why?" Akeno asked with concern. "It feels wrong. After what you said last night, it feels like I am taking advantage of you," Issei said as he lowered his head. Akeno looked at him and lifted his head so he was looking at her directly in the eyes. "You could never hurt me, Issei. You are the first person to ever accept me regardless of my wings. I have complete trust in you and I know whatever you choose to do, it will be the best thing to do for the both of us," Akeno said with a tear running down her face. Issei looked at her and kissed her on the head. "Akeno, I wasn't there in your darkest hour and I don't think I could ever forgive myself for leaving you, so, you have my word when I mean I will never leave you again. I may not know what lies ahead of us but I know I will take on hell itself to protect you. I will do whatever I can to keep you safe and happy," Issei said as he looked into Akeno's eyes with determination. Akeno cried with happiness as Issei finished his promise. She wrapped her arms around him and brought him in for a tight embrace. "Thank you, Issei, I love you," Akeno nearly yelled. Issei managed to wiggle his head from Akeno's chest and looked her in the eyes. "I love you too, Akeno," Issei said. The two were about to kiss again when thanks for watching. Part 3 is over. Hope you all enjoyed. If you like this video, please do like, share, comment and subscribe.